everybody. Welcome to How Times Have Changed. We are here. We are ready. I am your favorite historian. I talk about everything that has to do with empowerment and history. My featured show recently featured is Mondays at 11 p.m. If you like a little bit of challenge, because I'm definitely going to challenge you, and you like some intellectual conversation, come by my place. All right, come by my place. We have games and fun. It's edutainment at its finest. I am also a proud member of the Scouts family, so anywhere that you can find that gold and green, I am also admin for some of your most favorite shows, okay? So check me out. See that guy down there? His name is Vibes. On Monday, he has Love and Order. That's a little baby that's soon to be featured as well, so you want to check that out 10 a.m. on Mondays. Today, he also had a show at 10 a.m. That you're going to want to check out as well. It's Okay to Be Human, real human to human, down to earth conversation. Again, you can catch me here Wednesdays at 1 me anywhere the Scouts are, especially on Tuesday with L the Drug. And follow me on Instagram to see what my schedule. I tell you what I don't got. I don't got this top badge going on. I'm going for my top badge. It's been a long journey. That's what I don't got going on.
All right. Yeah. Top badge, Nikki 24/7. Why not, right? All right. So look, everybody, we here today to discuss this policing, really, body cameras and other things. And for those who watched the news this morning, there was a school shooting in Georgia. So check on y'all kids and call the school and make sure they got certain things set up just in case of an emergency, So I know a lot of schools have certain technology where they can press one button and the whole school shuts down. I know my son, you can't even go in. They got the little cameras on every door. You can't even get into the school unless somebody physically looks at you. But it's not the parents going in, it's the kids that's already inside doing the stuff. So they need to, handle that a little more. All right. So my two guests, if you gentlemen can hit the box, we can get started. Thank you for everybody who joined so far. What's up? If anybody said hello to me and I missed it, we'll get into it. So before these two get to talking, get you some water, get your popcorn, because you're going to be sitting here a while because they involved in everything.
This is your boy, Hoochie Daddy of the Hoochie Daddy family, founder, one and only original, aka Ivoire LaFla, COO of Honor Family. And we here with the founders. This is the founder of Honor, and we've been rocking with a lot of shows, a lot of content, as many people know. We appreciate the love and support. You can catch me on Speak Life every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, co-hosting with yours truly, Top Badge Vibes, every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with It's Okay to Be Human, or shall we say today, with Naj and Emotion on the rise, It's Okay to Be Alien as well. Shout out Nikki 24/7 for Top Badge. We also have some more episodes of Love and Order on the way as we work our way past season 1 into the Supreme Court trial. For all the winners of season 1 of Love and Order, court cases will face off towards each other. We have some special episodes as we move towards that. Season 1, we have about 3 to 4 episodes left of season 1. We also have BBC Tonight every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Casper will be on the BBC show with yours truly, Vibes, Study of the Scouts, and as well over TV. So yeah, we have a lot of shows and like that on the way as well. Some new content on the way, and looking to make history on the app with some surprises.
You already said most of the shows we got going on. Honor Family is doing major things. We have Virgo Takeover. Virgo auction on the 13th, and then we have a Virgo Takeover week going on from the 13th all the way to the 20th, leading off with my birthday celebration on 14th, and then we have Elder Drug, which is she will also have her birthday celebration at the end of the month. At the end of the week. So we got a lot of things going on. Me and Mir, we appreciate you having us as always, man. And Nikki 24/7, thank you for everything you do and all the involvement you have.
What's up, everybody? Welcome again to How Times Change every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch us on YouTube and Spotify. Subscribe to the YouTube. It's in the link. Click on my name up there. Subscribe. We're on our way to 50 subs. So go on and subscribe. Catch some of this content just to play it back. I want to congratulate you guys both. The past shows, I'm not going to say I put it at a competitive note or anything like that, but you did a show before. We posted some clips from those shows, and you guys kind of like neck and neck with, rewatch time and the numbers and stuff. So the streets definitely are interested in what you guys got to say. So yeah, man, just a little pat on the back. You know, you guys are doing some good content out here. Pretty much, you know how the show goes. It's not really a debate or anything like that. It's more of your opinion. And if you feel that you have been offended in any kind of way during the show, you are free to leave. You know, make sure you guys check your terms and conditions as feature show hosts, see how they want you to greet the guests. You guys are two black men in America, you know, and you guys obviously are seen as two black men, right? So just in a general, how do you view the world when it comes to just the police department in general?
Being a black man in America, I mean, the world in general, but definitely in America, being outspoken and having a voice is kind of shunned upon. Being too loud and being too boisterous about our equal rights and rights and passions, and understanding what we like, knowing and being aware of what's going on. They don't want us to say too much. You know what I'm saying? When we say too much, they kind of want us quiet us down in different ways. They have different ways of doing that. We're still fighting this stand with police brutality. You know, it still goes on today. You know, I was involved in a situation, but I'll tell later. You know, when I was living in LA, it's just like, you know, it's get arrested for a little bit of nothing, trying to give me a felony for something that had no bearing on anything. It's a constant fight when it comes to being in America. It's something that we definitely need to continue to work on and still continue to strive to better, man. I don't mean, there's so many ways you can do this, but we got to be consistent with it. We got to keep on fighting. So that's my perspective.
My whole perspective on it is, you know, similar to my brother Vibes, is that we have been kind of dispositioned for many moons, many generations to be underdogs, and we are a threat in the disposition to be melanated men with the conscience, if you will. We have been expected to not have minds. We have been expected to not be of integrity. We have been expected to be in the box, I believe. And a lot of times when we step outside of this box, we are targeted, I believe. And it's not to go into entertaining this whole stereotype of victimhood. It's just the reality of what we go through in the means of culture, and being in a culture that really favors more so a downgraded perspective of us. So I think that it's definitely a need and a call for consistency for us to progress within redefining the narrative. But a lot of times that in and of itself is, you know, weaponized against, if you will. A lot of times we you know, as black men, we feel that we are put in a position to where we are not desired to grow and change the narrative. You know what I mean? It's almost like we need to be put in place to fulfill and continue this circus and to continue this narrative and this stereotypical narrative.
When you hear body cam, what comes to mind? Like what feeling comes to mind? What words come to mind?
Body cam, I would say violation of privacy, manipulation of systematic oppression. I think there's different ways they try to say we make us feel safe, but it's clearly not making us any safer than it was before. Body cams, they still manipulate the ideal of what is it actually doing for us. You know what I'm saying? It's actually pretty much incriminating us, because if they put us in a case where we'd have to prove ourselves, they show body cam is supposed to prove our innocence, but it actually is indicting us under false pretenses and just kind of like a whole agenda put up against us sometimes. I mean, maybe not every case, but in most cases, that's what they tend to twist the truths for us in their favor. You know, sometimes, not all the time. There's some cases where it actually does defend the issue of us, but I would say the latter of being the higher percentage of it incriminating us as well. And they'll find ways in the laws, you know, that kind of will incriminate us by our actions.
I'll make sure to get you some stats on that. We'll check it out.
I like it. I know you're gonna give me stats. It's all good.
It's Virgo season indeed.
Okay. So we hear violation of privacy, manipulation, systematic oppression. Ivoire, are those your same words, or would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I would like to add to that, big brother. If you know, big brother, definitely go into ulterior motives. It's really a means of reverse psychology, where it's like, oh, we're putting something in place for your protection, but it's really utilized as a weapon against us to invade our privacy, as this is an economy that has been in place where there's been litigation circumstances of breaking the privacy laws with mega corporations I would not mention for protection, protective reasons of this stream. But, it's been known for privacy laws to be broken And a lot of times that's just reverse psychology. Yeah, we're putting something in place for your protection, but so far we have seen evidence of nothing but this being weaponized against us and used for the favoring of other parties against us.
Hey, look, we got Nikki here. She gonna bring up the facts. She gonna bring up the hard hitting in between the paint question. One thing I know about body cams is I've seen them. We've all seen them. I don't know how many people have been in a situation where they've malfunctioned or not, mysteriously. But yeah, even today, security guards have body cams on. Police officers are wearing body cams. Firefighters have body cams on. They're pushing the issue with just public servants wearing them in general. Nurses, doctors, they've talked about having all that just in case for safety and other reasons, and in the proper channels to have it. Not just like, oh, you're gonna walk to the doctor's office and you're being recorded, but certain things, where maybe a mental health facility, or they take the information and say they use it for research purposes. But what's the research purpose? Is it human behavior? Is it actually to fix the problem? I think we had a fact, Nikki, about body cams. You know that fact?
I got some facts. As early as 2012, California is really kind of like the pioneer of body cams, and they started using it in Rialto. Now, body cams, over 50% of police departments in the United States use them. Interesting that the choice of words that you guys used, violation of privacy, Big Brother, COINTELPRO, systematic oppression, body cams were initiated to actually kind of counter that. They were initially put in place to record civilian police interactions, reduce complaints against officers, protect officers from false accusations, and also to reduce the instances of police overuse of force. Statistically, there's been a small decrease in use of force because of body cams. It's not a major decrease, but there has been a small, pretty significant decrease in use of force. I don't know of a case offhand that has made national news where, it has exonerated or been used against or shown something different. But we do see that we have clear evidence of police use of force and police are not held accountable. Right? Like, I definitely see that part where we have this evidence or what we see, but despite the evidence of use of force being extremely high, we see that nonetheless, they are not prosecuted, they are not held liable. But the most recent one, like when we're talking about this, I just want to go into this. When we talked about it's a violation of privacy, manipulation, all these things, but then we have something like George Floyd that takes place. And this police officer does go to prison, and then it does it puts these things in place where we have a little bit more accountability happen in police departments because of that. Do you still think that body cams are a complete violation of privacy? If we hadn't had that, what would have happened to that case? There are several persons that have been recorded and police have been actually found, guilty of this. There have been several times, let's not even talk about body cams, let's talk about the house cam, Ring, right? There have been several crimes that have been solved because someone simply had a Ring camera on the front of their door.
Right.
How do you guys feel about that?
With the elevation cameras being used of today's time, a lot of things have been nipped in the bud, and actually we can see more of the presence of less indictments when it comes to blacks, but I think it's the low percentage of that. The ratio of that is, you're talking about anywhere from 2% of black people, which is probably, a million compared to that. But I think the number is just still too low. I think there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that still try to defame our character and also pose us as being hostile all the time. If we do anything, and being a black man in America, if we do anything, if we raise our voices to a certain decibel that's unacceptable in society, then we look at it as being like Neanderthalish, hostile, brutal, and like that. We cannot voice our opinion, even in the state of this being arrested, or we're supposed to be safe with the police department. So if we come off and voicing our opinion about a certain situation, most of us are even falsely accused. A simple pull over on the side of the street can turn into a deadly scene. where most of us are being victimized by the same systems that's meant to save us, and pretty much, and we're still seeing signs of it suppressing the fact of us being who we are, and not really focusing on our rights as Black men. You know what I'm saying? Black men are scrutinized so many different ways, you know, when it comes in this country, and still to this day, which, you know, a deeper thing, like when you remove the Black man from the family, what happens? You know what I'm saying? And then the family has to have residual generational curses when it comes to that type of thing. We don't have a lot of families being led by men now, because most of the Black men, not a high percentage, but a good percentage of us are in prison. You know what I'm saying? And then yes, we have to be held accountable for our actions and things like that, and what we do. But at the same sense, we have a lot of people in the prison systems that are really not even innocent. In jail for 40 years. We see a lot of that now, where mistrials are happening, where guys have been serving 40-something years, 40 plus years in the prisons and being released after 50 years. What do you do as a Black man being released out of prison after 40 or 50 years? You're supposed to just pick up your life and be like, okay, no, in terms of PTSD.
But if we had more surveillance, more technology, could that be preventative from those false accusations? Look at Sonia Massey a few weeks ago or months ago. She was murdered,
right,
and he accused her of getting ready to throw hot water. Body cam says different. Body cam says completely different. Shot her in the head. So without that, we would have thought that this woman was attacking this police officer.
But will he be indicted for that? That's the question.
And he would not have been indicted, right? But he got indicted.
He got indicted for it.
But my question is when one indicted, we understand the ones that get away, but is it worth it if one doesn't get away?
Compared to all the reparational things we've been through in America, all black people have been through in America, one is too many. We've had two. One is still too many right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. One is too many, but it was held accountable for it. If we didn't have the body cam, he wouldn't have been held accountable.
Considering what the cams were invented for, they're literally supposed to catch 100% of the action. So, like, just having one person slip by is not enough. We wanted 100. You guys put it out here so it could be 100% effective. We want it to be 100% effective. Don't have it to where, I mean, there was just a case a couple of days ago where there was a man, they pulled him over. He had some guns and narcotics on him. He sat down, kneeled down, put his hands in the air and said, "I surrender." And a cop still came out of nowhere and kicked him straight in the chest, in the neck. You know?
So let me clarify this. Yeah. The camera catches it. It may not catch it at every angle, but is the body cam and the use of it the problem, or is it the interpretation of justifiable homicide the problem?
Yeah, the camera is doing what it's supposed to do. The camera has one function, to record. What you do with the footage is the problem. And what you look at it, and, you know, we can sit here and watch a video and all see something different. That's the issue. Who's sitting on the board watching the video determining they were justified in this, they were not justified in that? That's the problem. It's a camera. A camera is meant to do what it's supposed to do, record, take pictures. The camera's not the problem, but also if they didn't have it, we wouldn't even have the information for somebody to review.
Catch-22.
Yeah.
Catch-22. Can you guys remember the first time you ever heard about a camera being involved in a dispute with a crime?
The first time I ever heard Rodney King.
Rodney King.
Rodney King definitely. That's when they had the VHS and the cameras on the shoulders, you know, and it was big bricks they were carrying around with trying to get footage. And I think that was education that we needed to innovate cameras being used. And was now we see more people carrying their even personal cameras in their cars now. So, you know, I mean, we're trying to catch this stuff as much as possible, but it's still, the numbers are still too high, I think, you know, it's my personal opinion.
Well, I would like to say that the issue transcends the whole idea of utilization of technology. One is killing multiple birds with one stone. They get to push the agenda of what they're doing through technology, facial recognition, invasion of privacy, etc. And then on top of that, you know, they still have access to this technology in ways that we may not even be familiar with, as there's advanced technology not available to the public by the hands and the powers that be of the government. This has been known. As a person who worked in protective services, and Vibes being a United States, you know, veteran, we understand that a life has been taken and lost, and that's something that's, you know, beyond the power of technology. And the issue lies within training and protocol. Training and protocol within us. In no way should an officer witness another officer and murder an innocent person and not stop them in their tracks and put his own life in the line, because that ties into his oath. That's despicable. Like, I would never stand by and watch a partner on duty with me murder an innocent person. I'm going to put my life on the line to stop that. That's when it comes down to it. So that shows me that they're in cahoots. They're in cahoots. That's premeditated. And they have the technology, and they have the people within departments necessary that can manipulate footage in and of itself. So therefore, this explains why I would know a person personally that was stopped by the police and they followed protocol, they followed procedure, they cooperated, and the police still beat on that person that I know. They beat on him, they risked his life, they tased him, they caused medical damage. And the thing is, it was all caught on via like camera footage on cell phones nearby by witnesses. So if the camera footage was to do its job, why are they trying to confiscate other people's phones in the case? Oh, we need your phones, we need your footage. They only want to use their footage, and they want to control the witnesses' footage and remove that out of the equation for the benefit of whatever that they're going to go, face legally, because they know what they were doing was wrong. And if it's officers that's cooperating and not going by oath and watching other officers break their oath, then you're breaking your oath too by witnessing that.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and say that, I hear you guys in the use of it not. I'm not sure if I quite trust it not being there. I'm not sure if I quite trust civilians not having the opportunity or the ability to record, things that are kind of taking place. Believe it or not, the use of film is really what got the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 65 passed. When other countries and other people saw how horrible African Americans were being treated in the United States based off the film footage, that's when they began to react and say, oh, you guys are hypocrites. Y'all are lying. You're coming over here to the UN in these councils. You're coming to these diplomatic meetings and you're talking about democracy, but you don't even have democracy at home. So it's a real interesting thing for me to kind of, if we look at that on the bigger stage, then to say, well, if you we have a historical record where police brutality or whether all this other corruption, when there's no technology or no proof or no evidence available, it runs rampant. If we did not have this technology, how would you envision correcting abuse of power then? Without body cams, how would you do it?
That's perfect, because that's what I was going to go into. When it came down to it, it was already issues within the policing community where they felt that even compared to other soldiers or anybody that work in similar work, security, protective services, first responder work, they felt that the United States were not really developing a good strategy in terms of training for their officers. They felt like, they're not putting through enough training and mental evaluation to begin with. It's not enough investigation within the hiring process. So that right there is what caused a lot of issues, and the police force became too militarized because there was hiring people that was in questionable character to fill a quota, because it was like a shortage of qualified officers. So I can see the issue.
Even if they didn't, even if they trained all of them, are you going to train away racism? Right? Like, even if you can train away the use of force, but what about biases? We all have biases, regardless to what. And the United States is steeped in racism.
That's the issue.
How we're only Black people and brown. Let's just talk about Black people. I don't have the statistic with it would be in brown because that's questionable about what that means. But Black people who identify as African American are only 13%. They'll never be the majority of anything on any police force or on any board. Like, they just won't be unless it's solely in their community sometimes, right? How can you leave it only up to training?
It's not that, but it's also anybody know that when you go into this line of work, you have to go through a thorough background check. We're supposed to go through a thorough background check and investigation and mental evaluation, polygraph, etc. So when they are hiring people that had backgrounds tied to the Ku Klux Klan, it's been proven. This is public information. It's
in 2024, that could be hidden information. How would you prevent that? I want a definitive answer. You think it's just training?
They have ways to have thorough investigation in terms of somebody's background, but they don't want to go into thorough investigation because it's meeting a quota where we need to fill numbers. it's about a numbers game. It's like we need to go numbers. We have a shortage of officers, but they could thoroughly really go into investigative research as to what a person is through, whether it's social media, through references, through social connections. A lot of times you can't even make it into the feds if you have a family member that has been imprisoned or that is an ex-felon. They won't even let you into a lot of times you will have a hard time making it into
looking at how certain organizations and groups are in society right now, just how we have parades and stuff. The KKK is able to march down the street, in a parade, and it's looked at as just a group or organization. So if I have that I'm tied to them on the application, would it really stop me? Because I can argue with saying like, oh, we're not like that anymore. We're just a regular boys group, just like, the police department is in itself. You might have a straight arrow go into the police department and he's upstanding, holding the truth. But then once you're around your other friends, it's like, all right, hey, look, this is how we do things in here. If you don't like it, you can either get along or go along. Or you could get, how do we know these police officers aren't being threatened into acting like the rest of the cops, especially when you're a rookie and you're lined up with veterans that have been there 20, 30 years. You want to do good. You don't want to just, I went my whole life trying to do this job and now I'm just going to not do this job because of this, So there's many things that could stop somebody, and training is like, okay, we could train people to do certain things, but at the end of the day, like Nikki said, it's your mind at the end of the second, whether I'm pulling out my taser versus my gun. The body camera is doing what it's supposed to do, but it's at this point, do we need robot police officers? Like, would they follow the rules better than the regular ones?
Be afraid they might train that to target particular people of the demographic of the populace. They were still program it to be like them. So
oh no.
To tap into that, like you said, and statistically, I found statistics in 2013 says like a third of the local law enforcement agencies that use body cams in 2016 rose to 50%. All right, so now with that being said, a correlation with where I'm living at right now, Saudi Arabia, we have less police to human interactions. That means they actually do use cameras for speeding tickets and stuff like that. That poses a threat. They actually use cameras, and we get tickets sent to our phone. Our phone is attached like Social Security, and as soon as we get a ticket, maybe 2 or 3 days later, it comes to our phone, and we have a camera for that, and then you go find a way to pay it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't pay it, it increases. So I mean, they're using those methods over here in the Middle East countries, and it's working because they have less police human interactions. With that being said, police is able to go do their jobs as they should with civil and criminal investigations. So I mean, would that help in America? Sure, but what is the police actually there for? That's the foundational thing we need to understand. There's a history with police that does not stem from protecting the public. Okay, it stems from degrading and enslaving and patrolling the African American population that was there and keeping them in line to what the whole objective is for black people. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, does that still happen today? Of course it happens today. Man, it's the fact that we know that and we're more aware of it. They do it blatantly now, and then they go into feeding into applications of jobs, and they go into redlining neighborhoods, and that's how we get the hoods, and but that's a deeper topic. But yeah, it's just not justifiable to say, oh, just cameras, yeah, if they're in place, they're going to capture it. That's what cameras are made for. They're going to capture, and if we don't have the cameras, surveillance cameras, we have people with their private phones. They're going to capture moments like that, and it's made us even more aware of what's going on. But the numbers still don't match. If we lost 1 million blacks within the last 2 years, and we only, and we got 2 indicted, what's the ratio to that? Can you even fathom the fact, is that even sparing life? Black life does matter, and black lives do matter. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we still need to do better. We still got a lot of work to do.
Right. Absolutely. It's people that's definitely on the police force that have no business being on the force. I mean, they don't even know how to deal with hand-to-hand combat or know how to utilize their weapon or policing vehicle at that. You know, it's proven, it's on camera, it's too much evidence that they're hiring people that have no business on the force. And I was like, oh, you're trying to fill numbers. There needs to be more mental evaluation. This has been pressed by the community time and time again, that many officers need to go into mental evaluation and be sought for any mental diagnosis. They don't want to do that because it will mess up their covert operations. You know, and I believe that so. Like, if you have a underhanded motive, of course, you're not going to take full measures of accountability that will put your officers into questioning in regards to mental evaluation, because that will blow everything. That will blow your cover. Definitely.
We know that just even police on police activities, you know what I'm saying, happen all the time too, you know, where a police officer pulls over another police officer, or police pulls over an FBI agent or something like that, and they do the same thing to them on camera, where, you know, whether they know who it is or not. Hey, look, I'm an FBI agent, or I'm a CIA agent. You don't believe me, and you still, you know, do the same thing you would do to anybody else, you know. So really, at the end of the day, do we need more technology, or do we just need different police? You know, and is it even gonna happen? You know, is it realistic to say the police department's gonna get better? I've heard of recently, like, areas like, you know, Chicago, you know, Oakland, where there's areas where the police don't even come, you know, until everything's done. They hate the police so much they don't even want them involved. And then when they're not involved, look at how the cities, you know, are being ran rampant. People carjacking, shootings, different things. The police wait till the bodies have dropped, and then they show up 30, 40 minutes later, you know. So you want them to help, but then you don't want them to come and do the wrong thing. You know, they come in, harass children, slamming kids down. Oh, he looks like a criminal. Oh, he looks like this. And then what do people always say? You guys harassing me, you pulling me over, you harassing me. Why aren't you out here getting the actual bad guys? You know, and we see that all the time, you know. So what are things that you feel we need to make change in the police department in general? Just besides the cameras, do we need more technology like the cameras, or do we need better officers?
That right there, I mean, it goes, I mean, it's a tale of two tapes, you know. There's definitely more integrity when it comes to that, but then again, you know, you run into the political innuendos and agendas that are posed against us in general. But like I said, over here, like, they have the less police human interaction. But, you know, in America, I think, you know, when it comes to criminology and all this stuff like that, man, it's out of control right now. You know, it's really out of control, and we're getting to the point where we're protecting ourselves even from the same people who are meant to protect us. You know what I'm saying? We got to protect ourselves from our own police department that's meant to serve and protect the people, which, you know, that serves its own different meaning. So it's kind of hard to say, do we need to spend more money on technology? Because the technology that they're going to spend money on is probably going to be more to serve the police officers than to serve the people. You know what I'm saying? So
what about civilians wearing body cams?
They'll find another way to manipulate that system, man. It's like the body cam. We got phones. You know, we got phones and things still capturing evidence and still capturing pictures when it comes to that type of thing. But they're still dismissing cases that you know that could be convicting certain people. But, you know, instead they're just dismissing these cases that are very vital, and they clearly cases of murder and deception and all this like that. But they still continue to dismiss these cases, and it's like, again, I said, one is too many. You know, one is too many.
It's profit for death, and it's definitely been a history from them originally being apprehenders, like apprehending slaves, escaping from plantations, and all the way into even all services rendered to us, such as EMTs, allowing people to pass away that they could have saved, firefighters admitting to people, and this has been on footage of a black man admitting that he met a retired firefighter that confessed that they, in times when it was racial prejudice at an all-time high in the 60s and 70s, that they, you know, reported people, you know, not able to be reached, you know, in terms of emergencies, to let those melanated or those minorities pass away. So they knew they could have saved them, but they reported back to their station, to their department, that, oh, they couldn't get to them. So those was firefighters. I believe it's nurses. We could all have family members that was actually intentionally covertly killed by nurses, by medical professionals that could have been saved.
If it was on purpose or not either.
they have the skills and the infrastructure in place to utilize and weaponize whatever they can against a particular demographic that they despise. And this stems from mental illness in and of itself. As Citizens Commission on Human Rights I was speaking about yesterday on Vibrate Higher, but Naj, is that a lot of the prejudice stems from a mental diagnosis and a mental illness. You know, you cannot coexist with another demographic of people due to whatever insecure or mental instability. And this is something that should be looked into within the hiring process of these services that take oaths. That's are to serve the people. It doesn't serve the interests of the people. No matter what, they've been investing money. We talking about a country that is predominantly investing a lot of their profit into these systems, the policing and the military and so forth, but yet there's still corruption, and they utilize those powers that be in the wrong way, which goes down to the hiring process. Who are they recruiting? Who are they hiring? They're intentionally letting these people in, I believe.
I mean, we know the military do psych evals for most of the branches, you know, and there's still bad apples in there, you know, they protect us overseas and here, you know, so like, would you say that actually if we really got to a standard of, all right, you got to go through a psych eval to be a police, you can't have none of this in your background, say we really ramp up on the procedure of psych evaluations in the police departments, does that really make sure do we have just a white collar police everywhere all over the United States now?
Looking for reduction, a number to go down. That's what mainly what we're talking about here. We're talking about reduction in number. But to us blacks, where reduction in number is a whole lot substantially a lot bigger than the regular what the government would say is a reduction. They'll say 1% is a reduction. You know, they'll say 0.5 is a reduction, when 0.5 could mean 2.3 million black people. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it poses the thing of, like, I found this study, we're talking about comparisons of body cameras, and also the cost of benefit of hiring police officers. The cost of body cameras is 5 to 1 versus the cost of benefit of hiring police officers is 2 to 1. You know what I'm saying? So is it a good number? Is it a bad number? We don't know, but we also got to put into the ratio of how many people are we killing at the same time? How many people are dying during this process? You know what I'm saying? We can do numbers all day. We've been doing numbers since the beginning of time when it comes to colonization of the United States of America. But I'm just saying, how many people had to die and were sacrificed in the makings of all these numbers that they're trying to generate and get all these statistics and stuff.
Right.
I mean, we wasted millions of dollars, and you look at it all the time. In the military, I was in the United States Air Force for 10 years, man. So much money was wasted. So much money is wasted just on tangible things. You know what I'm saying? So, although it's crazy, man. It's the type of numbers that we're talking about. They comparing numbers to lives, and then it doesn't really equate.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. You know, just like at your job, you know, wherever you're at, oh, you're just a number. You know, because the higher ups aren't thinking about people, they're thinking about production, they're thinking about profit, different things like that, you know, and they have to put certain things in the workplace like cameras and stuff, but they're supposed to put that kind of stuff. They don't care about putting that stuff there, they just put it there because they have to, you know. So like same thing with the cameras, like, you know, if you got pulled over by the police, are you even thinking about the camera being on or not? Or are you just trying to get out of the situation with the cop? Like, you know, I've never been pulled over thinking like, oh, hopefully he has his body cam on, you know, because in my mind, you're going to do something with that camera on or without it on. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be in the situation at all. You know, why they try to say, oh, black people are scared of the police. Yeah, because look what's going on out here. I've been stopped by the police before and been like, hey, look, I'm putting my hands on the steering wheel, bro. And he's like, why are you saying that to me? You see what's going on in this country? Right. I don't know if you one of the good ones or one of the bad ones. I just want to go home to my kid at the end of the day, bro. Like, I'm not even trying to cause no threat. My wallet is already out. You know, I remember at a time my dad and my uncle told me to drive around with my license and registration already out, just in case I don't got to reach for nothing, you know, at one point in time in the country, you know. So like, we just want to go home at the end of the night. We don't want to well, you know, and we don't care. You do your job or not. We just ain't trying to get shot over something stupid.
I was living in Cali. I had a bench warrant for a speeding ticket. You know, it was during some rough times in my life at the time, and I remember getting pulled over. And I wasn't even getting pulled over. I had my car. One of my car was on the street. So, and California law says if your car can't be on the street if your registration is out of date. So I went in there. I went to the car. Wasn't driving the car. Went in the car. Was sitting in the car just to kind of, you know, get my paperwork out of the car that I had to do, whatever. Next thing I know, a police officer pulls up. They pull me over. They pull me and say, well, your car's on the street. You can't be on the street, and it's got out-of-date tags, which is probably like a couple of days or whatever. So make a long story short, they end up booking me, taking me down to the police department, and they booked me and they said, you're getting a felony. I was like, a felony? For what? What am I getting a felony for? So he said altering tags. And I'm over here like, man, this is crazy. So they put me they saddled me up on a bench with my legs on one side. I'm on the chain with, you know what I'm saying, got my hands locked up, whatever, actually behind my back. And the police officer over there, and I see them, you know, they're mouthing off to the guy, and they're saying, well, you can see a detective. They told me I could see a detective. So when I got there, all of a sudden they said, well, the detective's not here. So I was like, what you mean? The detective's not here. They said, well, we're gonna book you on a felony. I said, well, do me a favor, I need to talk to the detective, I'm a veteran. If I did not say that I was a veteran, things would have changed, things would have been drastically different, because no sooner I say that, it goes around the corner, comes back around, all of a sudden they have all the detectives here, all of a sudden, the detectives here, right? So I turn around and tell him, I said, hey, I'm a veteran. I mean, I say a veteran, I served 10 years in the military. He's like, okay, give me 1 second. Go around the corner. I literally turn around and see him, and the guy literally says in his mouth, do you believe him? I was like, what? Yeah, like literally. And then so they came back around the corner, and I was like, all right, we're not gonna book you for the felony or whatever. They're gonna give you a misdemeanor. So I was like, okay, cool, so I can go. Boom. And I said, no, we're gonna take you to another police station and book you. So I had to go to another police station, be booked. I had waiting in there. I was waiting for like 4 or 5 hours. Had the money in my pocket. They charged me $100 for bond. I had $100 in my pocket to give to him. He's like, no, we can't take it from you. You got to give it to somebody else. That was just ridiculous. All this just for simple things. And you wonder why we act the way we act and do what we do. And I'm sure there's worse cases.
Time that you went through that, somebody was outside robbing a bank, robbing a liquor store, pushing down an old lady or something that really needed that attention to be put on them, and they stopped you because of some tags.
Right. And so you can imagine if that is the case for little vibes, you know what I'm saying? There's bigger cases being done where people that look like me and you are serving major time. Like I say, 40, 30 years on being incriminated for something they didn't even do. You know what I'm saying? Or being overly sentenced over some things they didn't, you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. And so the is the system made for us? All the surveillance cameras really gonna stop and be in our favor? I don't know.
It's really a hit and miss at this point, because I've seen videos, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen videos of people running red lights in front of police, doing donuts in front of police, and they not even budging. You know, when I lived in Texas, it was kind of like that, where you could almost do anything. You brought out a gun, they on you. You know, but you do anything else, they don't really worry about it. Oh, you ran a red light, or you ran a stop sign, or you jaywalked or something, they're gonna leave you alone. But if you do actual infraction, that's when they decide to bother you. Now, okay, why are you, it's like we want you guys to do your job, so stop the jaywalkers and stuff too. But when you stop somebody from jaywalking, don't plant no drugs in their pocket or slam them on the ground or put your knee on their neck. Like, you know, it's like George Floyd, like we said in the beginning. George Floyd was accused of selling cigarettes, illegal cigarettes or whatever, you know. He really needed to go out like that over cigarettes, you know, versus somebody who, you know, where they've had school shooters or mass shooters where they try to take them alive versus shoot them. It's really awareness at this point, you know. Everybody be aware of your surroundings, teach your kids how to interact with the police, and, you know, that's all you can really do.
There's 400 and something seats available now for the House of Representatives, and I think we need to start being educated on the legislative branch of voting and not focus on the executive part. That's because the executive to me is just painting a facade for you, who you think is going to, you know, all the executive branch do is veto laws, y'all. They don't make the laws. Make the laws come from the legislative branch. So we need to get out there and start voting for our legislative branch. Yeah, exactly, in the face. So, you know, be cognizant of who we voting for. That's the main thing.
It's one of those measures to where it's always going to be covert operations. We can reduce the numbers, but it's always going to be a means and an intent to what's going on, the premeditated malice. That's why it's important, like what Vibes was just saying, they're dealing with the legislative branch. It's sad that we have to become more technical within our means of communication and knowing our rights. And even then, it's seen on camera. A lot of people abusing their authority and power sometimes without even use of force. So it comes down to the point where it's really a social issue. When you really move away all the smoke and mirrors, it's definitely a social issue. It just became more covert. It never went away. And this creates PTSD within the community. It's people that's scared for their life in the presence of the police officer because they are in fear of the circumstances, because they know there is no justice in consequence for the actions. There is abuse of authority and abuse of power. There's people that went to jail for years for something that's now legalized. And now they're saying, okay, we're going to give you an advantage in legalizing and getting your way with being a merchant, if you will, within legal marijuana, for example. But that doesn't take away all the time that was lost that they did in prison, and it was incarcerated. And a lot of times it was overly booked, you know what I mean? It was overly sentenced for something that's now legalized that they're all enjoying. So it's really a quotas business. That's a lot of officers that cherry pick in terms of duty. You're not really following the oath. You cherry pick and you're selective about what it is that you're going to do to fulfill your duties. It's about money. It's a profit scheme. You know what I mean? Debt for profit.
We know that's like a crazy topic anyway, drugs in the United States, where we know the police would seize drugs and sell it back to the drug dealers, have their chemists step on it and send it back into the community where it was already, being damaged. They're bringing drugs over in the coffins of fallen soldiers and stuff like that. So come on now.
Matter of fact, I read an article today. I'm not sure if it's they're using the sharks, but they're now having sharks that they're finding cocaine inside the sharks now. So I don't know if it's because of the cartel. When they send the cocaine across the thing and they blow they're sending submarines and things like that, which is going in marine life. So I don't know if they're ingesting it or they're actually packing these sharks up with cocaine and trying and they track migration. Drug dealers are doing some crazy stuff, man. They tracking the migration of sharks.
They do that with dolphins and stuff like that. We know that a certain time of the year that animals go to warmer climates. So if around the cold time in Cuba or wherever we at, we're like, hey, let's put some this in sharks, we know eventually they're going to get over to Miami. So we'll have our people in the, that's too much, you know what I'm saying? Like that's too much to be thinking about, but at the end of the day, what are you trying to make millions of dollars, billions of dollars, what are you going to do?
Let's sacrifice 250 billion to get 125 billion at least picked up. So definitely, man. Everything is fine. They're hiring engineers. The cartel are hiring engineers now. They're building submarines. You see it all day. They build all kinds of things that go under the water now, man. So
you can't say that it's fake because, kids' cartoons, you know what I'm saying? Every time there's a villain involved, the villain's right-hand man is what? Most of the time? A smart person, a scientist, you know what I'm saying? So, we know what's going on. The good guys never know the scientists. The bad guy got a scientist right next to him, asking them the numbers before they go and do whatever they're supposed to be doing. So they hide the truth right in your face,
Right, exactly. It's true. Great operations, and what's sad is it's been innocent prisoners killed in the same type of circumstances and behavior. I mean, they even got police force gangs. They got gang affiliated officers.
Yeah, they seen gangs in the military and stuff like that. Yeah, I had a couple friends that was in gangs in the military when I was in there. They were like, they always wore red. They had a couple of them, man. Always wore red, always wore blue.
They're actually
crazy.
I watched a documentary about that a couple years ago, how the Latin Kings and Sutrese and different gangs like that have infiltrated the military just to get to certain areas so they could commit crimes because they can't go there directly or their leaders can't get there, you know what I'm saying? So it's wild to think that, all right, I'm gonna go into the military just so I could get to this specific country so I could cause damage, suicide bombers and stuff. I'm intentionally gonna fly a plane into this ship or into this, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy that people come over here and learn from us to do stuff damage to us, you know.
Definitely crazy.
Absolutely, it's actual like policing gangs now. Like it's been a thing, but it's becoming uncovered to the public more so information wise that it's actual policing gangs, like a police made up police gangs. And when I seen that, I said, oh no, it's obvious, like you said, in plain sight what's going on. You know, a way that we can carry out the integrity of a hope with those type of measures going on.
And you know, they have gun groups, militias that are started. You know, even blacks have those too. Should that become like more of a regular thing? Like, should we have more militias in our communities?
It's covert operations even in that, where it's people that could be from the law, the so-called law enforcement side, that act in infiltration, where they will get a part of these militias and to start riots. This is also something similar in function to what we've seen in South Central Los Angeles, where they would start gang wars and so that they can continue gang wars because that fulfilled their quota to keep people imprisoned and dying at the same time. They make money off of every time someone is sentenced, and they make money every time someone dies. So it was to keep the cycle going. They would go and dress up like a rival gang member or drop rival gang members off into each other's neighborhoods, or they would start shootouts and dress up and cover themselves up as a gang member in order to keep those wars going.
Right. I've actually had friends, you know, pass away from stuff like that, where gangs have hood days, you know, and they meet in certain areas, you know, where necessarily you might not know where they meet at, because it's known that if you're right here in the middle of your hood, it might get shot up, you know. So now you guys have private events and stuff. So if somebody gets shot by a rival gang at a private event, you know, it's crazy. I had a friend, it was a couple of them by a house. The police literally drove by, flashed them with the lights, drove off. 2 minutes later, the whole block gets shot up.
Because they break privacy laws definitely and use measures of advanced technology in order to covertly spy on people. There's been times where in the community they have spied on ex-convicts. They have spied on them for years, just to catch them and rack up enough information. These people will go to extreme lengths and have access to technologies that the public don't in order to spy.
Sure, for sure. All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody sliding up in here, man. You guys hit Vibes Ivoire with a fave. You guys know everything they got going on and all that good stuff. You guys have anything else to contribute to the topic before we disappear?
Oh man, just man, you know, keep on being educating ourselves. If you haven't started reading up anything on certain topics like this, man, start reading up on it. And also, definitely go to your legislative branch and go to your local thing, you know, your local mayor, senates, and all the positions that hold in your state, man. Make sure you educate on that, because we got a big election coming up this year. Make sure we get ourselves educated on that. You know, I don't know how extensive you want to go, but you can go as deep as you want to go to make sure we get the people in there that you really want to get in there that's going to make changes for America. So shout out to that. And 65 men, appreciate you both for having us.
We appreciate you for the opportunity. I would leave people with this. You know, information is power. Educating ourselves on proper communication and protocol and how we interact with, you know, powers that be is definitely helpful, because it's been proven in evidence on camera that by the way we carry ourselves socially and the information knowledge we carry, we can reduce greatly the covert operations and underhanded tactics used against us.
So, all right, man, we'll be back again next week with another topic, another moment in history, you know, with history and social norms with me and my co-host, Nikki 24/7. Make sure you guys check her out, new feature show host, Mondays, 11 p.m. Eastern, Empower Her. And man, look, Vibes, I'm gonna see your banner soon, you know what I'm saying? One of these days, you know, soon, hopefully, you know, and hit everybody with the fade. I appreciate everybody coming in today.